Sitaram, to all our brothers and sisters out there, and to our guests on the program this morning. Let me, I know that a lot of people listen up the islands as well and on social media. So I want to welcome all our brothers and sisters out there and to let you know that this is your regular Thursday morning program on addiction and recovery. And it is an interactive program. Of course, if you all have questions, the numbers are on your screen, 663-2335, 663-1027. You may call and ask any question of me or my guests, and we'll try our best to answer your questions. And of course, this program is being recorded and it will be posted on YouTube and social media, Facebook, at the end of the program in a few minutes. So those of you who can't stay to listen to the whole program, you can always come back to it and you can refer friends to it as well. People who you think may have a problem with alcoholism and drug addiction, they can come to these programs and they can listen in their own convenience at their own time and get information. So it's a resource that we are putting online. Today, we are very fortunate that we have two very important people in the field of addiction and recovery, and especially in the field of recovery. We have with us the chairperson of the General Service Board of Alcoholics Anonymous in Trinidad and Tobago. That is Ms. Chitrani Christine C. Charan. That's the beautiful lady you're seeing in one of the boxes there. And in the other box, you see a name Lal, AA. Lal is the public information chairman of the General Service Board. And I know he's itching to tell us about the convention they have coming up. And Ms. Sicharan will be talking about the General Service Board in general and telling us a little bit more about it. And I know that they would be, I see them shaking their head when we were listening to the videos that led up to this program, especially the 12 steps of AA and all of that, which they are all very familiar with. And let me say this, Ms. Sicharan is a chartered accountant. She's also studying law, and she has agreed to give her service voluntarily to Alcoholics Anonymous. She has been serving as the chairperson for the last 3 going on 4 years, and this is admirable. It's similar like the Mahasabha board, which has been giving the various Hindu schools in so many communities to Alcoholics Anonymous. On behalf of her and myself and the fellowship, I would like to thank the Mahasabha board for also giving us this airtime free this morning to speak about Alcoholics Anonymous. And let me add to what was said in one of the videos. I know it sounds a little bit pessimistic when they say only about 15% of persons recover from alcoholism and drug addiction. But I want to quickly add that Alcoholics Anonymous, which is now in 189 countries in the world, I have been following the research, has the best success rate. In fact, yes, about 85% of people do relapse because alcoholism and drug addiction is an illness from which people could relapse. But people who come to AA, you'd find over time, almost 85% of them, the reverse is true, eventually remain sober because of Alcoholics Anonymous. It has the highest success rate in the world. And I know that there's a lot of misconceptions out there, Ms. Charan, about AA. People think, boy, you have to go bad before you go to that place. Or, you have to go and talk your business. There's a lot of misconceptions, but I am aware of the wonderful work that Alcoholics Anonymous has been doing worldwide. Because in all my research in Jamaica, in the States, Alcoholics Anonymous has been used to great effect in various treatment settings, even at Coro Hospital here and at Heal House. I know the board has been sending people to represent AA and to let the public know that there is hope, there is a place. So let me say a warm welcome to you all again, and I'll go straight to Ms. Sicharan at first to tell us a little bit about the General Service Board and the work you all have been doing.
Good morning. Thank you all for having me here. It is a pleasure to represent A on this platform. The board was formed around in the 1950s. Um, as to create an office, and the board was created in order to help run the international office. So it's our linked to the international body. So our office is our local office of Trinidad and Tobago that is linked to the international bodies. This really, this office is absolutely needed because it really helps us to learn more about the disease and of course new literature that comes out on it to continuously help the addicts and their families. And I just want to say, there's a lot of misconception about alcoholism that it's an addiction, but really it's a family disease. And we need to be aware of that because it affects the entire family, even though there are other members of the family who are not affected by the disease. Because of what the drug does to that person and the love that his family have for that person, it really affects what we, term family life. And of course, by extension, community. It affects the workplace as well because some of these people who are affected, unfortunately, by this disease are some of the best employees, and some employers are not willing to let go of them, so we
Right.
we reach out, and a lot of organization also reach back out to us, to help us, they want a seminar in their workplace, they want a seminar in their schools, and how do we treat with this disease. And it's very difficult because we are Trinis, and we, if something good happens, we celebrate with alcohol. If something bad happens, we mourn with alcohol. Everything is take a drink. That's our culture, and it stems from our wider culture of Caribbean life. um, and we just, not everyone that drinks is an alcoholic, so that is very important to note. But when you are affected by the disease, it takes a very negative, dark turn. The board is here to assist with that and to help with the administrative duties, is the business arm of the fellowship. As you know, we are all self-supporting through our members and contributions. And the administrative duties take it's part and full of that, because of course you must have some way of rolling out that recovery program, rolling out ability to speak to families and stuff. We have many calls that come through daily through our office. Just in the COVID-19 year alone, there was over 600 calls that came to our office, for help, and it has continued on that route. And we are here to serve. The board is made up of 9 members. 3 are previous members who are affected by the disease, but have at least a minimum of 10 years of abstinence from the alcohol. And I use that word very carefully because, sobriety and abstinence is 2 different things. Some has experienced sobriety and some has experienced abstinence. The literature tells us once you're an alcoholic, you once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. So we always be very careful, not to use the word recovery. However, some members do use the word recovery, but they must have a minimum of 10 years of being away from the substance, and have started to serve in the fellowship itself and serve in their communities as well. Because the entire recovery program is not just about the 12 steps, but it's also about giving back to our communities, because I first
Correct.
mentioned that the disease take away from the family and by extension the community. So part of the recovery is to give back, at some measure, to make amends for what would have happened.
And your offices are located where, Ms. Sitaran?
Our offices are located in Couva, Rivulet Road. It's very close to the roundabout where, as you go in through Point Lisa's there. All right. It's right next to the NGC school, or some close to there. Yeah.
I
So
know in trying to contact you, I spoke to your office manager,
yes.
a guy named Ganesh, who gave me the information and so on. And I know that he's there because very often I have to call the office to refer people. I do work in the field of treatment and rehabilitation. And very often I refer people to the office and he's there. The office is a clearinghouse of information. He's able to give the addresses of various groups and various communities. He's also able to make connections with other people in recovery, referrals to them so that they can provide support and so on. So I know that you all have, it's that office is a buzz, but you also have literature available. And I actually have a book here. Well, it can't show against the green screen, but it is the 12 step and 12 traditions. I see we lost Lal for a little while, but he's back on with us using maybe his daughter's.
It seems to have an internet issue. Yes.
Yes, I think they're having an issue. All right. So some people are probably wondering, why Lal doesn't have his video on, but you have yours.
Let me
Let me
continue.
clear up that because I have this book here that's there's a tradition called Tradition 11, in the 12 steps and 12 traditions of AA. And this tradition says our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. So members of AA are really forbidden. It is suggested to them that at the level of press, radio, and films, they should not show their picture. And I have questioned AA members in the past. I have found out why. And let me share that with the public. The fact is that, Alcoholics Anonymous has really created a very good brand name, in terms of, as I mentioned before, has a history of doing, great work in the field of treatment and rehabilitation. And alcoholics by nature are people who like to brag and boast, They tend to be very egotistical. And if they get a chance, they would gladly go and shout from the mountaintops of what they have found, and what AA has done for them with good intention. But let's suppose, even with good intention, for instance, because you remember the lead to this program, they did mention that alcoholism is a disease from which you could relapse. It doesn't matter how many years a person is sober. It is said they only are arm's length away from taking a drink. And if they relapse, then they can bring the whole fellowship into disrepute because since it is based on attraction, people are going to say in the communities, but wait, and he was going on radio and TV and boasting about Alcoholics Anonymous, and look, he's drunk. So maybe that fellowship don't work. So as a result of that, I think there's this suggestion that at the level of press, radio, and films. But then someone would ask, but how come she's a chairman, but she's allowed to put her picture? Well, Miss Charan, let me tell you all out there, she's not an alcoholic, right? She's a professional, but as chairperson, and this is why there's Class A and Class B trustees on the board, members who are Class A and Class B. Miss Charan is a Class A trustee, I found out, and as such, she can put her picture up. She can go and represent AA on any forum, and this is why I'm so grateful that you are with us this morning, that you could put a face to the fellowship as well, So coming back, I see Lal is with us. So let me go over to Lal, and if I could ask Lal to share a little bit about his own experience. How come he became an alcoholic and what he did, to stay sober and now be able to take such a very important responsibility. Because I know Lal is I'm from Felicity, and Lal is originally from my community. I know his family quite well. Very, very, an admirable gentleman, and who was doing great human service in the field of public relations for Alcoholics Anonymous. So Lal, if you are there, you could unmute and you could share a little bit with us. We're happy to have you on the program this morning. Hello, Lal, you have to unmute. I know sometimes this technology always an advantage. It can be a little bit tricky sometimes. Are you hearing me, Lal? I know he has audio connections, but you have to press the unmute button if you want to say something to us. Yes, he's there.
Hi. Good
Yes,
morning.
fine.
Are you all hearing me clearly?
Yes, we hear you clearly, Lal. So tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, how you got involved with Alcoholics Anonymous. What led you to AA?
Firstly, let me say thank you very much, Mr. Dwarka, for having Ms. Charan and myself here this morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Right.
And I am very, very much pleased to be part of your program to, as we call it in AA, share my experience, strength, and hope.
Correct.
I grew up, as you said, in Felicity, where alcoholism was prevalent. And
It is.
and
Yeah.
unfortunately, while going to school, one of our teachers would say in the school, in the classroom, if a student came to school without a book or without a proper uniform or footwear, the first thing the teacher will say, you all parents working so hard in the sugar industry, because as you know, Felicity
Right.
had a lot of people who came from the sugar industry, and they can't afford to buy a book or a proper set of uniform for you, but they could afford to go to the rub shop every Friday. And to add insult to injury, they will say from on top, Felicity have the most rub shop in the country.
Yes.
So I grew up with that in my mind. And I thought to myself, you see, this fella, I don't want to have anything to do with alcohol, because I saw what alcohol did in the neighborhood. And I said to myself, I don't want to ever be like that. And I don't want to start a family to be exposed to that kind of behavior when you consume alcohol. Unfortunately, I fell in the trap.
Mm.
At age 17, I took my first drink. And Mr. Dwarka, believe it or not, it is over 42 years now that I have had that first drink. And up until today, I cannot remember what I drank, who I drank with, or where I drank. And that went on for 25 years. 25 years of active drinking. Fortunately, I didn't drink every day. I am what we call in a binge drinker. When I started, I would go for 2 weeks straight. And when I stopped, I always, after I stopped, I realized I did something wrong, so to speak. Because after a bout of drinking, I would realize what I did, and I will say, see this is not going to happen again.
Okay.
And before you know it, I
Mm.
will find myself after 2 months staying dry, or 3 months, or at one point, 13 months, I will be back in a bar. And as I hold the glass to take that first drink, the thought will come to my head, Lal, you know what's going to happen when you take this drink? You're going to drink for a few days, you know. But still, I didn't have the willpower. I didn't know how not to take that first drink until after getting some good licks with alcohol, I got the message from my brother, and I entered the doors of Alcoholics Anonymous. Prior to my entry into AA, my manager, my godfather, my parents, my eldest brother, my neighbors, my co-workers, my doctor spoke to me about drinking. All they said, Lal, you're drinking too much. At no point did anyone ever say, Lal, you have a drinking problem. You are an alcoholic. And alcoholism is a disease. And if you do not take care of it, it is going to kill you. And the sad thing about it, it will kill people who are around you who may not have even interfered with alcohol. So I entered the doors of AA. The second meeting, I attended the Serenity AA group meeting, and it was in my hometown. I was given a new comer package, and at that same meeting, I was given a big book, as we call it, and a 12 by 12, the 12 steps and the 12 tradition. And apart from the normal suggestions that are given to you to make meeting as regular as possible, avoid the first drink one day at a time, avoid the slippery people and slippery places, pray and ask and beg God to remove this obsession, I was told to read. Read the book.
Lal, I don't mean to interrupt you there, but at this stage you come to AA. There's a lot of, even now in the community, people say, boy, you have to go there and talk your business, and you have to really go, me ain't gone so bad yet. I don't need to go to AA. We both come from the same community, so I know,
Yes.
yeah, Felicity has so popular, they named a aroma after Felicity, you
True.
know. So I would like to hear your response to that, having gone to AA, being in AA, how would you respond to someone saying, well, look, boy, me gone so bad yet, and you had to go and talk your business there and all kind of thing.
Right. So before I answer that,
Yeah,
let me read one line,
yeah, sure.
and you will understand what it is. There is a principle which is a bar against all information, which is proof against all arguments, and what cannot fail to keep a man in everlasting ignorance.
Mhm.
That principle is contempt prior to investigation.
Right.
If you spoke to me about AA when I was drinking, I would have said the same thing. I am not going there. I am not an alcoholic. AA is a place for people who gone through, so to speak. And I am not one of those. I have been started at a very young age. I have achieved the material things that any average individual tries to achieve at a certain age. And you go and talk to somebody else about alcohol and AA and that. I don't want to hear about that. I am not an alcoholic, so I am not interested in what you have to tell me.
All right.
That is what I would have
I
said.
don't mean to interrupt you there again, but I
Mhm.
want to make this a conversation. I want to also get Ms. Charan involved. And I want to let our listeners out there know that they can call the program if they have questions, or they want to ask you questions, or they have concerns about Alcoholics Anonymous, But I'm sure Ms. Charan would have had experience with, people in denial. You're trying to talk to someone, a colleague or someone, and, because I know I work in the field, and I can tell you one of the biggest problems with people who have become alcoholics is denial. They seem to know everybody's business except that their own, you know. So, all right, I made my phone mute, but I didn't realize it could still send the call to my watch. Sorry about that. So that yeah. So if we could go over to Miss Charan, you can share with us your experience in that regard.
Thank you, Mr. Doricus. So I will have that experience from a different perspective, from a third-party perspective, whereas Lal will have it from a first-hand experience. And what we find is that while A is an available fellowship to help those, is for those who want help. So if you speak to someone and they're, in denial, and no one likes to admit that they do have a problem, they always think they're in control. I mean, it's very difficult for human beings to think that they are out of control and the alcohol is in control. And that is, I was looking at these steps as you put it up there, and that is clearly step one.
Right.
that they have lost control, and that is a difficult thing for most individuals to address. You know, how can you tell me I have lost control of myself? I just had a really hard day at work. I'm unwinding. Listen, something happened really bad. I just need a pick me up. I went out with some friends. It's just to have a little drink to unwind with my friends. I work very hard. I pay the bills. I provide, and they are what we call not they're at the beginning stages. You're not a full-blown alcoholic where you drink every day.
Right.
Your real weekend probably start at Thursday night. So you start with the Thursday night lime, the Friday night lime, Saturday, Sunday you're sobering up and you're going to work Monday. Some of them don't sober up by Monday. They go to work from Tuesday.
Right.
But they still don't even believe and that they're out of control because they're giving the spouse, whether it's your husband or your wife,
Right.
money to help with the kids. They are doing their responsibilities. They're just having a little alone time or with their friends, just for that pick me up. And it's
You know,
very
you said
difficult.
something, you said something very important there, because I think a lot of people don't realize that alcoholism is a progressive illness. And some
Yes, it
people at
is.
the beginning or the middle stage where they're still managing, and
Yes,
they confuse that to mean that they're still in control, you know, and our impression, general impression, is once you have money in the bank and you have a nice car and you have all of those trappings of success, you can't be an alcoholic, because an alcoholic is a bum. That is the general impression, Miss Charan.
no, it's not.
When if I ask people out there to describe an alcoholic, they describe a vagrant. They wouldn't describe Lal
No.
or anybody else. So I thought that was a very important point you were making, is a progressive illness. And most people are only willing to admit, and even then, they are drowning. They are on the streets, they are sleeping on the pavement, and they're still telling you, they're still insisting, no, no, I can handle my stories. I'd like to hear Lal's take on that. Lal?
Based on the response from the general public,
Yeah,
I have had a lot of bad experiences since I've been in the fellowship talking to people about Alcoholics Anonymous.
right.
And one of the reasons is because of what I just read. I had no information about AA, and yet I was making a conclusion
Mm-hmm.
that that place is not for me.
Right.
And I realized that now I realize that as I'm in the fellowship, that apart from the individual who has the problem, the general public is not informed enough about Alcoholics Anonymous. Because for some reason or the other, they think, just as what you said, it is, in our local terms, a person who gone through.
Right.
And when I entered the doors of AA and I saw what AA had to offer, I was totally surprised, because it was nothing what I expected. It was nothing what I thought of. And I was so pleased to see all that AA had to offer. So for those out there who are not familiar with the fellowship, we have a lot of information right now available online through the General Service Office
Right.
that they can get to educate themselves pertaining to alcoholism and how help could be reached.
But tell me something, can anyone come to AA, or you had to fill out a form, or you had to pay a fee, or how do you get in AA?
There are no dues or fees for AA membership. If a family member is willing to get help for someone, they can call the office. The office will, in turn, get in touch with an AA member who is living in the same area with the individual that have a problem and direct them to a meeting. We have 97% of our meetings are open meetings.
Right.
In our little booklet and on the website, we have where all the meetings are listed. Also, if the family wish that a member or the office manager, if they wish that someone speak to the individual with the problem, we could do that also.
Right.
But we have, as I said, all the information is online on the General Service Office website. And we have our number 229-2288. They can call at any time and help is available.
So allow me, Mr. Dorka, to chime in here and just add a little bit. If you are a person and you want help and you want to remain anonymous, you can join an online meeting. There are a lot of online meetings. You can keep your camera off, just as Lal has, and you can put any name that you would like to be referred to as. It doesn't need to be your personal name, so that we can help you along your journey. Everything that you say in meetings are usually anonymous. Your face is anonymous. Just that's the reason why Lal does not have on his camera. And it brings me back to the board structure. We have 3 trustees who are not affected by the disease or have never been affected by the disease. I'm one of them. And we are friends to aid that we lend our professional services to give back to our communities as well. And then we have 6 trustee Bs who were affected, but has been at least a minimum of 10 years sober at this point in time or abstain from the disease.
All right.
But
let me
if you are
say this.
concerned,
We did have a caller who were trying to get on to us, but
Sure.
we lost him. I want to ask them if they're still listening. They can call back and we'll take. All right, we have a call coming in. So let's take this. Hello. Uh-oh, seems like we lost him again. You know, there's a lot of people who trying to get on this program, you know, but there's sometimes, you know, so if the caller is listening, they could try again. We'll try to accommodate you. Sorry to interrupt you there, Ms.
No.
Karen.
Sorry. I just
Yeah,
want to
you
make
were
sure the
saying.
public is aware that their identity can be
All right, I
protected.
think we have the call now. Hello,
Hello, morning,
good morning.
Mr. Dwarka,
Yes,
Ma'am Sicharan. I just have a question to ask.
yes, go right ahead.
Yeah, my question is about, I understand that Alcoholics Anonymous is observing 68 years of being in existence in Trinidad
Right,
on the 21st of April this year.
right.
Yeah, I understand also that it is at the Daybay Secondary School.
Man, I want to thank you very much because you're reading my mind, caller.
Okay.
I feel pretty sure you are aware of the fellowship. Yeah, we are just about getting ready to talk about that before the program. But as you have mentioned it, I will ask Ms. Sicharan to speak a little bit about the convention coming up, and Lal could also chime in there.
Question.
Yes, sure.
Yeah. Are the general public invited?
Yes, definitely. Well, I should let Ms. Sicharan answer that.
And do we the public have to pay a fee?
Ms. Sicharan?
Right. So we are 68 years in existence in Trinidad and Tobago. To commemorate that, we are having our national convention. It is being held at the DB Secondary School. And I will let Lal talk about the date and the time that we are at. And it is available to the public, yes, and they do pay to the general public will pay. Usually the members themselves usually support this convention. So let Lal talk about it a little more in case, I overstepped or said something I should not have.
Well, I look forward to attending these. This is why I know it is open to the public. I have attended many of these conventions. But Lal, tell us more about this convention coming up.
Okay, so as Ms. Sicharan said, it is at the Daybay Secondary School on
That's the one by the old railway line there,
by the traffic light, not
opposite the market.
Right, that's correct.
I'm from Davie as well. I went to school there. Yes,
Okay,
tell us,
great.
Lal.
Right. We have parking, a lot of parking in case people have a
Right.
concern with that. It will be held on the 21st of April from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The registration fee is $150 for the AA member. If the AA member is being accompanied by family members, when they go for registration, their discretion could be used where payment is concerned pertaining to who is accompanying them. You know, we cannot deny anybody entry from the convention because, as you all know, the convention is part of carrying the message and informing the public about the presence of AA.
Right.
The theme of this year's convention is, I would like to, I don't have all my documents here, I think it's United in Love and Service.
Okay.
And we have a lot of workshops. We have the Al-Anon Family Support Group will be there also. There will be refreshments throughout the proceedings. We have 2 doctors as the feature speakers.
Okay.
We will also have entertainment. We also have a raffle that will be drawn on that day. And the prizes are very, how to put it?
Attractive.
Attractive, that's correct. And again, for those who may need information, they can contact the General Service Office. Usually, conventions are held in the 3 regions, South, Central, and North. And this year, it is South turn to participate and host the convention.
You want to give us a contact number, Lal, that people who are interested in contacting the office and getting further information, and
Sure.
generally speaking to anybody from the board, the manager.
Right. The office number is 229-2288.
Right.
They can ask for Ganesh.
229
2288.
2288. Okay, we mention it again before the end of the program.
Right.
And they can speak to Ganesh. He's the office manager.
That's correct.
I know. I speak with him. I spoke with him earlier this morning.
Right. And it is a good opportunity for members to attend from throughout the country and bring their families. This is one way in which a lot of people who are not educated enough about AA will be able to get some information. We will also have a literature desk there. And when people come, they will see and they will be amazed, just like me, all what AA have to offer.
All right. So let's ask Ms. Sicharan if she want to add something to what you've said.
Yeah, I just want to say there's a WhatsApp number for Mr. Ganesh Mahadev as well at the office.
Yeah.
It's 339-7249. You can also email us for any information you may need at aagsott@gmail.com. And I just want to say one last comment and then we can go straight to you guys. As you know, our fellowship is self-supporting. We don't ask for any monies from the public. However, we do sell literature in order to help our self-supporting effort, so that we continuously help families, even if they don't have, money to help to contribute at the time. All right, our mature members are the ones that give the voluntary contribution, and our newer members, if they could afford, they give. If they can't, that's okay. But we have a drive of selling our literature right now in order to enhance our ability to remain self-supporting to the public. Yeah, thank
Yes,
you.
I imagine it does cost in the world that we live in. You don't get nothing for nothing,
Yes.
And it does cost to carry the message. I know public relations work is very expensive. Printing. In fact, I have one of your. This is one of my really powerful resource. You will see it again. It's the green little pamphlet with a question mark says, "Who me?" And this pamphlet really has a lot of in fact, I believe everyone should avail themselves of this pamphlet, people who are in the helping professions, schools, pharmacies, and I know the public relation committee has been hard at work doing this. I see these pamphlets all over the place, and I see it at Diwali Nagar as well, where I am also on the board there. During Nagar, the AAs were well represented, and the literature is there. And these pamphlets, I have one here right now that gives the names and addresses of all the meeting places in Trinidad. It gives all the contact numbers. It gives a lot of information about the nature of alcoholism. It also has what is important. That's 12 questions that has helped people worldwide to determine whether they're an alcoholic or not. This is a very valuable resource that I find, the Ministry of Education should probably have a lot of these, and the social development ministries as well should be able to, be giving this out to the public. You wanted to say something, Mrs. Charan?
Yes, yes. So we also go out on a lot of public events to companies if we do it publicly as well, like in malls and stuff. When we invited to the police, with the barracks and stuff, we also give out a lot of literature. For those members who want to help, you can purchase literature and that goes to the PI committee. We also give it to members who cannot afford at that point in time. And while we cannot take money from the outside, we can sell literature. And of course, for those professionals who are willing to lend their support with their professional services, I mean, that really helps. As you know, I'm a volunteer as well, giving my professional service, right? And I just want to mention about the convention a little bit, that anyone is invited is not just the AA member and his family, to come out and have a fun evening. It has a lot of activities, a lot of entertainment, and you can learn more about the disease. And again, if you want to remain anonymous, you can join, and you think you may have a problem, join one of our online meetings and, keep your anonymity.
If
And
I
we
could
thank
put,
you
yeah.
for
If I could put a plug for you all, I have been to many of these conventions, and I see the camaraderie,
yes.
that is there, and it is, and I would like to strongly suggest that people who are, like studying as professional social workers, students, and so on, who may have to write on subject matter, about alcoholism and drug addiction, this is an ideal opportunity to go to this convention. So you get a first, the saying, as you hear it from the horse's mouth as we go. So as we hear it from Lal, you hear people actually giving contributions at these conventions, and you have professionals who speaking on the scientific nature of it. So let me jump over to Lal. Any final words before we close, Lal?
Yeah, very quickly.
Yeah.
Mr. Charan mentioned about the distribution of information pertaining to the public. I am as you said, the chairman of the Public Information Committee, and I just want to quickly mention some of the areas that we covered. This is just
You
a
just
few.
have a few seconds, Lal. We have to.
Yeah. Yeah,
go on.
we are working with the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Sports, the Ministry of Public Information, the Ministry of National Security, and we are also, believe it or not, working in conjunction with Angostura to inform the upcoming bartenders, to educate them about the problems with alcohol and where alcoholism is concerned.
All right.
I just want to say, as Ms. Sicharan said, we are hoping to see a great turnout at the convention, and it is open for all. Thank you.
Well, I'm planning to be there, and I really want to take this opportunity to thank Ms. Sicharan for, I know you have a very busy schedule to really come on the program here and share the information. I know we could have gone on talking for another 2 hours.
You're
So
sure right.
if in the event that we want to come back and do another program later on, I'm hope that you all will be available. I also want to thank the Master Board and the management at Radio and TV Jagriti for really doing community service by providing this airtime free of charge. We are hoping to attract sponsors, hopefully in the future, that will support, at least help this radio station, because, this is valuable airtime. But again, I want to thank you all very much for attending this morning, for sharing of your vast knowledge, Lal in particular of his personal experience. I know he would have liked to share a little bit more about, since he's coming to AA, I know he has done very well, and he's doing a lot of good work. So thank you all very much. Thank the management, thank Francis for providing those videos in the lead up to the program. And I want to thank all our listeners and that caller who called and reminded us to get on cue with the convention. Again, we will be on next week, Thursday at 9 o'clock. Please tune in. And if you would like, this program is aired again at 10 p.m. tonight on the same radio and television station. So even Ms. Charan and Lal, you all could sit back and see yourself, listen to yourselves. Or we can go on YouTube. Just type in my name and you'll see all the programs that have been done so far, well, in the last few months on radio and TV Jagriti that has to do with alcoholism and drug addiction. And it can be a very good resource to refer people to. So thank you all again. And thank you again, Francis, for having us.
Thank you very much.
All right, so we close there.
Yeah.
Happy